conclusion of the walking
Here's
tour,
the weather as
we will have lunch
Lisbon.
at a place that's called the
We're
Posada dos
sitting in the front
Loios.
row.
Posadas are
In the
historic
fog.
properties in
Here
Spain.
we are on the wonderful
most
Vasco da Gama Bridge.
Inexpensive way to
We
study
just
is to go to a
can't
public
see
university. There's not
This bridge
the mouth
is
of the
about
river.
8 miles long.
It's a huge,
And
huge
we're covering
river
We're above a
that comes
great
from
big
Spain, and
river.
we'll see it again when we get to Toledo. States. We have huge Portuguese communities in Massachusetts, New Jersey, California, Hawaii. They came over, they did whaling. A lot of the folks from they ate salted. And sometimes, I don't know if it's the right time of the year, it might still be too cold, too fresh. This is a place where we find flamingos. The flamingos come on a migratory bird route from Africa up through Europe. So when it gets too hot in Africa, they come north, and they hang out in these camps here to the right and the left. These are salt harvesting areas.
The trees are cork trees. Portugal produces 60% of the world's cork. Actually, I thought it was more than that. But the trees are harvested every 9 years, and they strip the bark off of them, and the tree continues to grow. The trees are not planted, they just come up where the acorns take root if the pigs don't eat them. The bottom part of the tree is stripped, and they leave the cork up on the top part. So these are cork trees, and we can get a little closer to them here. Bottom part here has been stripped, and if you look up to here, they've left the cork on the tree here. That's the cork. That's where it's been stripped. There's a nice big one here. Look at all the cork up there. We do see a few wildflowers. Quite an interesting sculpture at this rest stop. Looks like a knight, but then here's a face on his body, and he does have a shield.
With the megalithic
Evora.
peoples, like the Stonehenge culture, if you will. Then the Celts came, and they mixed with the Iberians, the native peoples that were here, the megalithic Iberian people. And after the Celts came the Phoenicians. And they came over mostly for trade. They supposedly had anchors made out of silver. And they established one of the oldest cities in Spain, which is called Cadiz, over 3,000 years old. Their art and their culture. Then came the Carthaginians. Hannibal, he was the son of Hamilcar Barca, the reason they have the name Barcelona today. So far we have the Iberians, the Celts, the
Greeks.
Phoenicians defeated, finally
I see him.
Carthage.
defeated the Carthaginians and drove them back to Carthage. But this wall is interesting. Part of it is Roman and part is Moorish. The wall around the city fortifying Evora. Evora was named by the Celts. And the Romans added the name cerealis, or cereal, for the wheat that they planted here. They brought the crops of grapes, wheat, and olives to the Iberian Peninsula. After the Romans came the Visigoths, and they were driven out by the Moors. And the Moors were really a mix of people, but they were united by their religion. And do you know, like Yemen, present-day Iran and Iraq, present-day Saudi Arabia, and they came because the Prophet Muhammad died, and one that brought the Moors here. And they were like a rolling stone, gathering moss as they went. All the different groups came together in the name of Islam. So we call them the Moors, both in Spain and in Portugal. We went to the town, and at the top of the hill, whenever someone would conquer another culture, they would build things at the top to show who was the most powerful. Ashes and dust to dust. Rich bones, poor bones, skinny bones, fat bones, it doesn't matter. When you die, nobody's going to know who you were in this life.
This is the Church of San Francisco. That would be Francis of Assisi. The church was built in the 1400s. Gothic. around the doors, the curved lines is to symbolize ropes.
A bit of the old cloister of the monastery. But if you look carefully to those stones, especially here, this marble, very white. Oops, carefully here, there's a missing stone. This marble is very white. Those capitals are very sharp. So they do not show signs of the tides. Not many winters have passed by those stones. So what we have in here, it's a scenery. It's a copy of the old stuff.
How many monks would have lived
Copies.
at Hawaii?
Well, this is the original cloister, and you can tell because this is so worn. This is the chapter house.
It's in fact a very nice display of the national Christ. The monks back in the middle of the 16th century, they saw the people having a special place in the monastery for them. They wanted to meditate about the transcendentality of life. Everything that is busy is human, doesn't last. Only the soul is eternal. Only the soul lasts forever.
This is a chapel. Now up here that says something about the fact that the bones that are here are waiting for yours to join them. There's 5,000 skulls in here. We've got bones here, leg bones, arm bones, and skulls.
In the 18th century, 1700s, the monks dug up the place.
It is Palm Sunday, and there is a service going on in there, so we can't interrupt. Came up a hill, and here we are in the main square. The square was named after Giraldo, who was a Christian knight who liberated this town from the Moors. Here's a marble fountain in front of this church. The fountain is from the 1500s. There's an aqueduct built in the 16th century.
And it ends, the idea was to bring water into the main square so that people could bring their casks, their barrels to fill with water for their daily needs.
The church is symmetrical, 1500s Renaissance style. This was the Roman aqueduct right here on this street.
16th century aqueduct.
16th aqueduct came along here into this box to
So
store
it
the
came from
water,
underneath there.
and then down the hill. It's part of the Roman wall. And then this was newer, and that's newer yet. I was digging in his house and found this Roman house that's been preserved. This is a Casa de Burgos, free entrance, but not on Sunday. But here is some more of the original Roman wall. It was the western gate into the Roman town. Roman towns had 4 gates, north, south, east, and west, because they were all built on a grid. Now we've walked inside that Roman wall, and we're in what was the old Roman town. Here's the storefront, and look what's here on the side of this house. This is remembering the earthquake of 1755 in Lisbon.